My goodness, man. I just love that opening music, man.
It's the best, right?
It is the best. It's grooving. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a grooving kind of guy. You know,
Right,
it's
right.
just, it's really bad porn music, just really done well.
Come on, come
I'm
on.
only
That's
kidding,
a
man.
smooth little hip hop beat.
Yeah, man. I'm all about the hip. When you look at me, you're saying, damn, that's a hip hop man.
I think two things: hip hop and some peanuts, baby.
One thing I want to say, you want some peanuts, baby? Peanuts. I just want to make sure you want.
What's up?
And welcome to the new Pinch of Basil show. This is September 22nd. We definitely have changed our show for the better to make this show heads above the rest. And I am so proud to say I have here with me is my beautiful co-host, Janice Hermson. And of course, the man who makes this whole show flow, to be quite honest with you. And I love to have him with us. Our engineer, our director, J.R. Quitman. How's everyone doing, y'all?
What's up? What's up? How y'all
Yeah.
doing?
Doing good, man. I'm doing good. Janice, how are you?
Janice?
Awesome.
She's doing good too.
Of course.
Listen, I am Basil. I am your host, the pinup boy for every prison across the country, along with my beautiful co-host, like I said, and we are streaming this show.
And I'm not a pinup girl, let me tell you.
Not from Listen,
Not happening, man.
no, I'm just telling you, I can't get lucky in prison. That's how ugly I am. I'm just telling you. But I am very, very proud to say that we are indeed broadcasting our show, streaming live on Facebook at Basil Fans, Twitch at A Pinch of Basil. Listen carefully, A Pinch of Basil on Twitch, YouTube at Basil the Comedian. And then you're going to see that beautiful little icon says a pinch of basil. Click that. You can hear us live. And, of course, on Anchor. And it has everything like 8 different outlets, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts, just to name a couple. And let's not forget Greek Beat Radio that takes us all over the world from Australia, South Africa, Europe, North America, and, of course, Central and South America. Takes us all over because I always love hearing from basically from all of my peeps out there. We got people listening in right now. We got Angelo Romas, John Shelton, Kathy CC from Australia, my baby girl over there, James Bell from Calabash, North Carolina. It's really cool that we get people from all over actually listen to this show, and it excites me. It really does. If you're listening right now, you may be on Facebook. You can comment right now. Yes, you can. Facebook at Basil Fans. Again, Twitch at A Pinch of Basil. YouTube at Basil the Comedian. You'll see the Pinch of Basil icon to make sure, just join us from there, for God's sakes. And let's not forget, like I said, we even have a toll-free number, a new toll-free number. It's really amazing that all the work that I have done to prepare this show.
You have been busy.
I have been. I wish y'all would just do something, for this show. You all just show up.
We just get to sit here and
you get to sit there with a beautiful book, Red Deception, from our guest who's going to be joining us shortly. But listen, you want to call in? Hey, we'd love to hear from you. 844-523-2633. 844-523-2633. Go to Twitch, Facebook, like I said, and you can comment right now, like people are commenting about the show, and I love it. Listen, you guys want to have a question with me? You got a question? Yeah, that's cool. Go to info at A Pinch of Basil. Put an E at the end of that. A Pinch of Basil, Basile. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Basil Fans, Basile Fans. Go ahead, JR. What were you going to say? What smart ass remark are you going to make?
I was just saying Basile.
Basile.
Absolutely.
Oh my God! Every time now, do we call you Basile, Bizele? So what do you put in your spaghetti sauce? Basil. There you go. So it's not Bizele. Did I say Bizele?
No, Siri thinks you're Basile.
Yeah, when I call, Basile is calling. Yeah. So, anyway, coming up shows. Hey, my personal appearances. I will be at Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, October 1 and 2 at the Comedy Zone, which is also known as Boomerangs. And don't forget, Governor's Comedy Club in Belmore, New York, October 9th and 10th. That's October 9th, a Saturday. Sunday, October 10th, it's a Greek show. You guys can always find all of our dates at I'm going to be at the Ohio State, Columbus, Ohio for a private show. This is just for all the football players and stuff like that I'm doing. October 16th at Youngstown, Ohio at the Funny Farm. That's right. If you want to find out about dates and tickets and everything like that, hey, just go to Basil Live, BASILELIVE.com, and check out the site. Fundraisers, corporate events, Christmas holiday parties. Listen, you guys, we have them all. So book your parties. Man, I got the burps, and I just had some great coffee. We got some really unbelievable guests that come on this show. And so for all of you who are listening right now, thank you all so much for listening. We're going to be talking and taking questions, of course, from our guests that have come on and actually want to chat with us a little bit. That's cool. But in a few minutes, our guest is Gary Grossman, who's probably my favorite guest because he's a friend now. And he's a multi-Emmy award-winning producer, director, writer, and now a best-selling author with his new book, Red Deception, which is the follow-up from Red Hotel. And it is, I mean, the man is just an unbelievable talent, not only to understand all of his books that he's written, but all the TV shows he's been involved in. Are you ready for this, JR? Over 10,000 productions.
Wow.
10,000 productions. The man is unbelievable, and I'm honored to call him a friend. You got questions? He'll be with us probably in about 7 minutes. Again, Gary Grossman. You don't want to miss this show. A lot of
television producer and stuff like that also.
Yeah.
Wasn't he? Did he work for NBC and
he's worked for everyone. NBC, Fox, ABC, CBS. He's done everything under the gambit and multi-Emmy award winner. But then again, I mean, some of the things that he's done, everything from the Food Network, HGTV, Sci-Fi Channel, USA Network, NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, CNN, PBS, the History Channel, A&E, Discovery, National Geographic. This man is just not only a triple threat, he's like an unbelievable threat to anything he touches. And again, love to call him a friend, but and he's got a wicked sense of humor, and he's hysterically funny. And I mean, he's just just a wonderful person. He really is. Again, you can call in toll free 844-523-2633. What else y'all want to talk about before I continue my rants and stuff like that? Is that it?
Again, I just want to. Again, we got a lot. I've gotten a lot of calls and emails and texts and everything. Again, I hate the stress. I am married. I am married.
I didn't, to be honest with you, JR, I did not know that they were showing this in all like prison TV. So I'm glad that.
What you trying to say, man? What you mean?
No, I think it's nice that the male prisoners are writing love letters to you.
Everybody needs love, man. I keep them happy while they're in prison.
All right, you guys. Let's talk about the volcano that's happening out in the Canary Islands, guys.
What a transition! What a segue!
Yeah,
huh?
what a great segue. I got to get you off this stuff. Come on, man. You guys are going to be wiped out anyway, so we're not going to care.
Okay,
right?
I love it.
There you go.
All right, go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead. Talk about this volcano.
I'm gonna try to find some video for it, but yeah, it's crazy though, right? I saw some video of it earlier. What do you know about it, Janice?
Well, I know that there's a theory that the whole East Coast could be wiped out. So I thought that was pretty interesting, and the fact that nobody on the East Coast is aware.
No, I had no idea.
No, yeah. But I feel good for one reason. We paid our premiums for our insurance.
Flood insurance, right?
Yeah, flood insurance and wipeout
What happens
insurance.
to wiped out insurance? Exactly.
Well, listen, I think my policy covers that. As a matter of fact, I remember a hurricane was coming one time, and Kula goes, "Okay, listen, if something does happen,
no, this
with
is
the
a
house,
tsunami, baby. This is not a
I know, but we're going to rebuild. It doesn't matter. So what's going to happen is Kula's already planning the second house that we're going to rebuild. Okay, so we're okay with that. No, I you know what? It is a little bit crazy because I didn't hear a bloody thing about it, to be quite honest with you.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And JR and I live on the East Coast of North Carolina.
Well, we called a cousin of ours as well. Yeah, we called a cousin who lives on. Yeah, you do. Why haven't you heard about it? Is my question.
And you're in the news industry, for God's sakes, like you said.
I remember us reporting on it like when it first happened and everything, but I don't remember if I can't really pay attention to the news while I'm doing it, or I won't be doing my job. You know what I mean? That's what I tell my every day she asks me about what's the weather going to be. I don't know. I can't.
I only work in the news. I have no clue.
I was pushing the buttons, My kids just walked by and heard me say that. They're laughing at me now.
Oh my God. No, the thing is too, to be quite honest with you, I mean, I don't even know if some of our listeners and people who are commenting on the shows, let me see, who's it? Speaking of violent eruptions. Yeah. Okay. Way to go.
Well, it looks like CNBC volcanic eruption in Canary Islands forces thousands to evacuate. So they are talking about that.
But that's the Canary Islands where the volcano and mountain are at.
Right. So they're
how
reporting
far
on
are
that.
we from there?
8 hours for the tsunami.
But if it does happen, because I remember when that one movie, when a piece of this thing that was the size of, I don't know, New York City hit the water, and the tsunami came at such a force, it was almost like a like Mach speed, something ridiculous. So we wouldn't feel it. I mean, even if you try to get away, yeah, I'm just going to have a beer and smoke a cigar. And
no go bag necessary.
No, I just want to tell my, hey, look, the weather's changing, and that's all I want. I want to leave on that note.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
There you go. I'm trying to find. I want to see some more video. I'm trying to find video of this volcano.
Yeah, is there a video? And as you're doing that, again, I want to thank Linda McCurdy. I want to thank Anna Galan, who I promise I'll smoke a cigar with as well. She's a smoker. She loves smoking her cigar. George, what's going on? Kalimera from Melbourne. Hey, man, Kalimera, brother. How you doing? Joanna is listening to us. Schlepper. What a great name, Joanna Schlepper. Let me see. James Bell from Calabash. Like I said, this is so cool. Paul Bond is listening. My buddy from New York. Very, very funny cat is listening. And to be honest with you, man, and by the way, for those of you, because I've been getting emails, there's people who actually want to do commercials on our show. Why? I think you guys are crazy, but nonetheless, we get it out there. Hey, info at a pinch of basil, info at a pinch of basil.com. Make sure you contact us and stuff. And did you find any video of the volcano?
I came back. I stopped looking so I could come back.
Mother of God, you're in the news industry.
Look at the bottom of your screen. I have the email address up there right now, though. I'm multitasking.
Yes, you are.
There's that volcano. There it is. That's
Did
good.
You find it? Okay. Beautiful. That's wonderful. I love it. Okay. Let me see here. It says Basil's mic is the weakest. Is my mic? Am I coming across 4x4?
Sound good to me.
Yeah, it sounds good too. I think Paul's computer has issues. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Blame it on the
audience member.
On the audience, right?
Right.
Let me see. It's heavily disputed. Let me see what that was. Y'all talking about the volcano in the Canary Islands? Yes, Anna. We are talking about what gave it away. That we were talking about Canary Islands, the volcano, the east coast of the United States falling off. Oh, here it comes. We got video of the actual tsunami, and it's brought to you by Discover. Okay.
Not a tsunami. You know what?
Oh my God!
It went away. It went away.
It went away. Oh my God! So we can't use Discover
This
anymore.
because I believe our guest of honor has joined the
party. Is the volcano communicating with us?
No, those are the aliens. Those are the aliens.
Again, the aliens?
Why not? Come on.
They
Volcanoes, aliens, all of the above.
It's really just an unbelievable array of talent that we have here. It really is.
So Basil and Janice, guest of honor, has joined the party.
Oh, has really? Well, before he even jumps on, I got to give him the proper read bio by me. Gary Grossman is a multiple Emmy award-winning producer. He has produced more than 10,000 primetime daytime television series and specials for 40 networks, including NBC, ABC, CBS, Fox, CNN, PBS, History Channel, A&E, Discovery, National Geographic, Food Network, HGTV, Sci-Fi Channel, and USA Network. For the past 15 years, he was executive producer, writer, and co-owner of the highly successful Hollywood company Weller Grossman Productions. The publication of his novel, Executive Actions, propelled Grossman into the field of geopolitical thrillers. Executive Treason, Executive Command, and Executive Force further tapped Grossman's experience as a journalist. Wow. Newspaper columnist. This guy's really good. And documentary. His name is Gary Grossman.
Could you call my wife and let me?
I did. I truly did. And I think it was your children because there's some crayon written on here as well. Folks, we've had him on the show before because we love him. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Mr. Gary Grossman. Gary, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I don't think I've told you about my first 3 years growing up, and that's, if it's okay, I'd like to just get into that.
I would love to hear it. Go ahead, Gary. I'm taking notes.
Well, I was born in a small town in upstate New York that was never big enough for me, and now I'm on your show.
Well, you are slowly moving up, and I do mean slowly moving up.
Snail's pace,
huh? Gary, it's good to have you on the show again, my friend. How are you?
Great to see you again. Thank you. Great to be with the whole team. Wow.
Yeah, I'd like to introduce you to J.R. Equipment. A new show, new concept, new look, and I'm excited to basically have you on this. And I wanted you on this show, and because JR is a huge plus for us, and he has actually made this show a lot of fun to be with. Where we always had Janice and I would go back.
He didn't think I was fun enough.
I know. You were the backbone of the humorous part.
I just wasn't fun enough.
No,
Janice, did you get my note about doing a show together with me?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Are we live? Are we on now? Is this?
Oh my goodness!
I'll help produce it.
I thought I wasn't supposed to say anything.
Oh my gosh! Oh, Gary, so nice to have you with us. Listen, we'll talk to you soon. And again, letters to Gary. First of all, again, congratulations on all the success that you had with Red Deception, and now this book came out in June, correct?
Came out in June, and we just went online now through Amazon and iTunes with the Audible version.
And I have it.
You do?
I do. I'm already on, I think, chapter 7.
Okay.
She's a slow listener.
Oh, come on.
Well, you know what? I am too. I listen to it at night, and I hate to say it that my book is putting me to sleep, but I set the timer for 30 minutes. It's not because it's boring. It's simply because I start around midnight and I can do about 20 or 30 minutes. But the accents that the reader, PJ Auckland, does are amazing.
Yes.
He does, I don't know, I must have 15, Ed Fuller and I, 15 or 20 different accents. And he really captures them all. If there were any Greek ones, you know who I'd go to, or Bullwinkle? You do know?
Sure. Yeah, I could see Bullwinkle. As the suspense was too much for me to handle, I knew deep down that I had to run. My antlers kept me from going into the room so many times.
I could just see him with our Putin character now.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, with Boris.
Talk about locking horns.
Boom, boom. Okay. No, but that's great. PJ Auckland, that's wonderful. You know what? I do. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I used to. I used to, people would always ask, you read a lot. I said, well, I'm very well listened. And, and people would laugh, but I would sit there and say, I can only, because I drive a lot, I need to be able to be somewhat stimulated. So I would get some type of horror things or whatever. And I remember 2 Past 12 or 2 Past Midnight, written by, I'm having a brain fart right now. But I had to stop the car periodically because I was driving in the middle of the night and look in the back seat to make sure there was no boogeyman back there that was going to kill me, And I love audiobooks. I truly do.
Well, a good read will do that, and a good reader will do that.
Yes.
And Red Deception, not to do a hard sell, but I love listening to the books on tape, or what I guess it's not on tape anymore. There is no tape, but Audible, because the characters really do come alive. And for me as a writer, and in the case of Red Deception and Red Hotel, the co-author, it's really wonderful to hear the interpretation and then stop and say, that's pretty good, or that is pretty frightening, or that is very relevant, or that is talking right now about how screwed up and in what bad shape our infrastructure is, and why the United States get a C- in its infrastructure, and it just flies out of the pages of the thriller. And I love that. One of my other favorite series right now, Titus Welliver, who plays Bosch on TV, is now reading many of the Bosch books by Michael Connelly. So not only do I see him in my mind as the actor on TV, but I hear his interpretation. And it's just great. And you know what? It's not cheating. We're still reading. We are reading other things. But when you're driving, when you want to be stimulated, the nonfiction political books that are out now, read by the authors and other people, oh my God, it's just great. It's a great way to stay up on current events as well as fiction reading.
Yeah, I mean, there was a book that came out years ago that I got, Silent Coup. And I really enjoy that. And again, because I do travel so often, I don't get the opportunity to sit and open up a book while I'm at the office when I could be typing and writing and doing all the crazy stuff that that I do. Can I ask you a question? Are you involved?
Not at all. No question.
with your background in television and all the shows that you have done, have you actually been involved in the direction to the actual reader who is doing this, to give them direction? It says, because before, back in the day, and they still do it, you would have Fritz Freeling would be directing all these Looney Tune cartoons. And I always thought, what the hell did he do directing it to? Because I always thought Fritz would be like, cut! Daffy, what we're looking for here, it's like something, so you never really knew exactly what a director was until you see that they follow storyboards and they're moving along. And do you do that with, for example, with PJ? Did you do that?
I have learned. That's a great question. I've learned to do that. The first books that came out of mine, the executive series, Executive Actions, Executive Treason, Executive Command, and Executive Force, 4 books in the series, I didn't work with the reader. I didn't have the opportunity, but I learned that would be a good thing to do. And just to be able to, because I thought the reader did really well. His name is John McClane, not the character from the Die Hard movies.
Die Hard?
John McClane.
Sure.
But he read the lead character, Scott Rourke, really kind of like Batman, right in that. And it was just a little too dangerous for me. It still works, but it wasn't the character that I envisioned. So I called PJ when he first did the first book of mine, Old Earth, a geological thriller that spans all time, 4.5 billion years. I gave him, I wanted to talk to him on the phone, and I said, PJ, there are a lot of accents in this. How are you with accents? And he said, I'm actually very good. I'm an actor, and I do multiple accents. And I said, well, here's the shading that I would like for the lead character, Quinn McCauley. He did it. I listened to it. It came out, and I got about 35 minutes in, about 35 pages worth or whatever it was. And I called him on the phone and said, PJ. And he said, oh, actually, I'm glad you called. I was about to call you. I said, well, I'm calling you to tell you that I thought you did phenomenally. And I stopped right where you had a Welsh accent. And he said, well, that's why I was going to call you. You never told me there was a Welsh accent. Do you know, that's the hardest accent to do? Well, I said, you nailed it. And ever since then, I have talked to him ahead. He did Red Hotel and he did Red Deception. And we really talk things through. He tends to keep his read on the narration pretty much like this, so the characters come alive as he's doing the different accents. I, meanwhile, cannot do accents. Well, that's not true. I could do Nelson Rockefeller. and there's hello, this is Nelson Rockefeller. Hello. And there's not much call for Nelson Rockefeller.
No, and you would think there would be.
I may have missed the window. So I can do a lot of things. I'm not the person to call to act or to read, to do accents.
Right, and to me, that's part of the fun part is, I've done a few things already. Probably the most notable one that I wound up doing was I was the voice of Jimmy the Greek. And I'll never forget, when I did Jimmy the Greek Schneider for that 30 for 30 special, for ESPN, had the 30 for 30, and I was part of the original 30 for 30 specials. So when I wound up doing it, George Veras, who is now the president of CEO of the Football Hall of Fame, and you know what, Janice, we got to get him on the show one time too. George Veras.
I love it when you schedule on air.
Yeah, it's not a problem. It's my thing that I do.
That's great.
Yeah.
Let me just write that down.
And if you can't get him, hello, Gary, are you?
I've made that call.
But George Veras recommended me because he heard me do some other stuff, small stuff, not a big deal. And he goes, I think Basil can pull this off because, and I'll never forget when I read the sides. He sent me the sides along with the producers.
Now explain what sides are to people.
Sides are basically the actual script that that you have to follow, and they want to see a little bit of a sampling. And so I did I thought I did a great job with the on-air Jimmy the Greek, right? And it was like, because it was like a Western Pennsylvania, Eastern Ohio dialect with a slight little Brooklynese, if you will. So I had to incorporate all those three, and they were sitting there going, "Oh man, that's great." And then as I was sitting there with my manager at the time, and my manager and I were saying, "Oh, it looks like we got the gig." And next thing you know, they sat there and goes, "But can you do Jimmy the Greek from the Dead?" And of course, wanting the gig, I'm like, well, of course I can do Jimmy the Greek from the Dead. I specialize in From the Dead, for God's sakes, not a problem. And what they wanted someone who was more remorseful of how his life went, and what they were looking for. So you had to have that tone in there as well. So there's a lot of variations to play. But for me, I love stuff like that. But I got to get to a question that someone asked. And is a great question, and it's from let me see, my baby something don't. Can you read that, Janice? It's don't.
Who was more fun to work with between Bobby Flay and Wolfgang Puck? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Between the two,
and between those two, whose production had better craft services?
Well, I'll start with that. They're both immensely talented. Wolfgang Puck changed food. When we moved to California, there were restaurants that basically overcooked everything, and all the tables faced out, like in an old 1940s Hollywood movie, where the actors and the people, the stars, could see who's coming in, and the people coming in could see them. It was not about the food. When we first came here, the reason people went out to restaurants were to celebrate birthdays. And we heard happy birthday over this year, and happy birthday over this year, happy birthday over there, happy birthday here. And that was why people went to California. Enter Wolfgang Puck. He said, I want to make it more about, I do an accent.
Oh my God, look at that. Look who's showing off.
I do Wolfgang Puck. I do, we need to make it more about the food, who likes the food? And he brought in Japanese fusion, Asian fusion, with German and Austrian and French cuisine, and he changed everything. He trained chefs who work with him, who are now all around the United States, let alone the world. So working with Wolfgang Puck was absolutely amazing, and he made sure his company did the catering for the crew.
Well, of course.
Yeah, because he said,
how can I
be cooking this for television and not sharing it with the crew? So outside was his team. Bobby Flay, a barbecue show, and absolutely wonderful, easy to work with at the Food Network, knew exactly what he wanted to do. You can't go wrong. Well, some people can go wrong with barbecue. He never went wrong with barbecue. Neither does our neighbor, Ryan Flay, who's one of the two grill dads from the Food Network and the Flay Show. And suffice it to say, my doctor the other day recommended that I eat a little less meat. And I said I'd have to move.
Have to move out of your neighborhood, right?
We're going to recommend that you take a statin that we need. We find that you're elevated. Yeah,
there you go. Now, tell me about JR. What a great combination.
Oh, hello.
JR?
So I actually am I direct the news for a local news TV station. So when I, just doing some research about you and everything, saw you produce, television shows and everything, of course, because I'm not a big reader, but hearing that.
You have that in audio, by the way?
Right, exactly. No, that's the thing. I'm definitely interested in it. But yeah, I'm just, a director. I direct the news. I met Basil about 10 to 12 years ago, somewhere in there. It's been kicking it ever since.
Well,
yeah, we've been friends, and
I started in local news in Boston at WBZ, then an NBC station, covered political campaigns. I thought I was going to be taking a track towards directing the news. Maybe the most nervous I have ever been in my entire life, when I was the switcher, the technical director on the news. And I thought, there's not enough medication to keep me calm through that. It's like being on a battleship or the aircraft carrier at the height of incoming torpedoes and planes. There's so much going on. So I decided writing might be a more calmer approach for my career. But I worked at NBC News as well, and wrote for the Boston Globe and the Boston Herald American, and news is really in my DNA. So hats off to you.
Oh, no, thank you very much. That's cool. Boston Globe and the Herald. So did you ever work with Dan Shaughnessy and what was the other? And what was her name? Popular. She played basketball. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank with her name.
No, that's okay.
Jackie McMullen.
No, I didn't. By the way, what they say is the nouns are the first to go.
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah, but they're wrong.
I hear you.
There are other things that go.
Go first.
And one of my favorite jobs ever in the whole wide world. I teach at Loyola Marymount University part-time, and I just told my students this 2 nights ago. One of the best jobs I ever had was running third base camera at Fenway Park.
Oh, wow.
Season.
Wow.
Oh, my God. It was amazing.
That's cool.
And for a kid growing up on baseball and being able to spend, I don't know, 88 days at the ballpark, I could have given up the double headers on a hot, humid day.
Summer day. Ooh, I'm sure.
Yeah, especially when Louis Tiant was pitching, who had the slowest pitch in all baseball. He would have a cigar in between, a whole cigar in between each pitch. Basically.
Are you serious? Yeah, I was going to say
it between each like that by the second game. It's a great way to get hemorrhoids. I'm telling you right now. Second game of a doubleheader with a slow pitcher.
Right.
And if you remember, yeah, no two ways. And if you remember Louis Tiant, he actually had that where he would twist his whole body around,
totally around,
and contort it to a way when he would deliver the pitch. It was almost like he would hide the pitch until at the last second you had no idea what was really coming.
No idea.
It was really he was an unbelievable pitcher. I remember as a kid.
But I think they put a time limit of 7 minutes in between each pitch. because of
sure.
And all that stuff, the TV news, baseball, working in local TV, it all comes to bear even with the books, with Red Deception. I just was writing today a sequence on for the sequel of Red Deception. It'll come out next year, Red Chaos. And Ed Fuller, my writing partner, the former head of Marriott International, whose stories really work into all of these real life rescue stories, work into the books. He said, it's no spoiler alert because we won't remember for a year, but some of it deals with the Suez Canal. And he said, you should write a section, a little history on the Suez Canal. Well, the action is building and building and building. And I thought, well, I just don't want to have a lot of history, a chunk of history right here. But I can have, after attacks take place, the president of Russia watching 4 or 5 TV screens with Russian TV and Sky News and CNN International. And as he goes from one monitor to another, there's the cacophony of information that goes back to the 6th century of Egypt, and goes back to Napoleon, along with the canal will be closed for years. So many people are dead. Looking for survivors. We'd have and intercut that as if he's walking between or among monitors. And I got the history across through news. And I thought he had the right idea. I heard his note, but what was the best way of conveying it? Not through a big, heavy chunk of narrative. So news is, it's, I can do weekends with you, JR. Let me know, okay?
Okay, definitely.
Wait a minute. This is my neighborhood. I get first crack at the news, okay?
I'll come over. You can cook me dinner.
There you go. For sure.
Really? All of a sudden, I'm the new Bobby Flay of the Greeks. Okay, that's good. Or Bobby or Flay. Okay, that's perfect. When the love of news, and I think I told you this before when I was a kid, we used to have a magazine called Newsweek magazine, okay? And my mother, I was kind of a latchkey kid, but I really didn't do anything until my mom actually came home. And I would take Newsweek magazine and read about how we were exiting Vietnam and how it was going from that. And it was really unbelievable. I knew everything from A to Z from Vietnam. And then, of course, I took courses about I think the book was called The 10,000 Day War, that we had to go ahead and we read that, and that was part of our course study. But I remember all that. And, and so I'm a news junkie since I was a kid.
Do you remember in school we used to get My Weekly Reader?
Oh, man, back in the day, right? Yeah, sure.
And My Weekly Reader had science, it had politics, it had, I remember as a really young kid, stories about John Kennedy and, Bobby Kennedy and Eisenhower. I do remember, though, I remember this so clearly. It's still out. Scholastic Books publishes it for schools. My Weekly Reader at some point predicted the future. And it said by the year 1977 to 1982, we would have the 4-day work week, more leisure for everybody, and personal helicopters.
They were wrong. Okay. I'm sorry I stepped on that line, but I'm telling you, they were. Yeah. And, we had, even before the Weekly Reader, a thing called the Jetsons. And we were supposed to have a Rosie the Robot running all over the place.
We're close.
Our
Hazel.
job
We're really
would
close.
be nothing more than pushing a button, and everyone would be working for Spacely Sprockets. So, that's...
It's a very well. We didn't get everything we were promised, and a lot of it's still being denied. I can say that. We can all agree on that. When I got into, I was a ham radio operator because I was really like this big when Sputnik launched. And I watched it go over, and on my shortwave radio, I listened to beep, 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 beep as it's going over.
Really?
And felt, oh my God, there is a world outside of Hudson, New York. I listened to Radio Moscow and BBC and China and Australia. And I thought, okay, rather than just listen, I want to be able to reach out. And at first I did that through Morse code. And then became a DJ on our local radio station in Hudson, starting when I was a freshman in high school. And I thought, and I'm going somewhere with this, believe it or not, I thought that, my God, I'm so lucky I have a voice that can be heard first on, Morse code and then on the radio, and I'm reaching out. And that was really amazing. Today, everybody has a voice. I mean, look, here we are now doing this.
Sure.
There are podcasts everywhere. People on their iPhones are doing live broadcasts on Instagram and Facebook and you name it. And everybody has a voice. The difference is not everybody has something to say. And whether or not we believe those people is really our responsibility, mine as a dad and mine as a writer and as a journalist. And one of my favorite quotes is Mark Twain, who said, "A lie can travel halfway around the world in the time that the truth is putting its boots on."
True.
Don't we know
So
that?
true. So true. Wow.
Especially in today's world, that's for sure.
Wow. Do you still remember your Morse? Your Morse code?
I do.
Do you really?
I can do Basil. Da did it did ah did it did ah did it did.
Now, how do I know you're not full of crap right there, and you're just doing na 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 na, hey ha na 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 na, did.
None of us would know.
Yeah,
that's gonna be the soundbite that we share out for the show.
Did you put an E at the end of that, Basil? By the way,
I did. That's the did.
Mm-hmm. That was a did. That was a did. Okay. That is impressive. To be able to do that, and it is amazing how you listened as that satellite. Did you see? Because there's a movie called the Boys. I think it's called The Boys of October, or something like that, which was a wonderfully produced movie. I really enjoyed it because of it. I guess it's based on a true story, of course. And that was the big thing. He saw that satellite. You saw that blinking as well. Wow.
Saw it. And I have an alert, and I'm still the kid. I have an alert on my phone with one of my apps when the space station goes overhead. Have you seen that go over?
No.
I'll let you fill in the adjective. Amazing. It is amazing. It's bright and it moves like a son of a gun.
Didn't it just happen the other night, like earlier last week or a couple weeks ago? Because I remember somebody sharing it on social media.
You have to see
that.
The app that I use, I have no ownership in this app. I will say that right now. It's called Sky Guide. And you can, I think, download it for free, but there are many, and you get alerts, and it doesn't light up the sky, but it's easy to follow because it's just going across your horizon so fast because
cool.
it circles the globe in 90 minutes. And that still makes me a kid of wonder. It really does.
Cool is that? You know, where I lived in Long Island, New York, I lived in a place called Calverton. And Calverton was the area where they actually built the lunar module. And they actually wound up, it was right near Riverhead. You know, it was Grumman's Aerospace that actually built the the lunar module. And as a kid, I have it someplace because my father's restaurant, and I told you about my dad's restaurant in previous shows. My dad's restaurant was the only thing around, and my father would wake up at 3 a.m. and make hundreds of donuts. He would make fresh corn muffins and any type of muffins that they wanted, bran muffins, corn muffins, all that, and egg sandwiches up the yin yang, and they would pick them up from my dad's restaurant, Zane's Charcoal then. And they gave my dad, they have an actual, on a plaque, the lunar module, and I have it somewhere packed in a box someplace. And friends of mine who I played ball with, their dads were involved in the building of the lunar module. And it was really great. And also that's where they all tested the F-14 Tomcats. So periodically you would hear sonic booms and stuff. And then you'd hear, unfortunately, there was a couple of crashes that evolved there because it was in a testing phase at that time. But this is like early 70s.
Yeah.
You know, and then when I was a little kid, my dad was doing that back in the late 60s. And so that was really amazing. I'm always intrigued when there's anything to do with space. Even I watch the NASA channel. I don't know if you ever watch the NASA channel. I watch it all the time.
Actually, about 6 years ago, no, it was longer than that. It was when Obama first became president, and Biden was in charge and oversaw NASA. And a mutual friend of Biden's and mine, who had been a campaign consultant for Biden, I reached out to him to say, space is so interesting and the NASA channel is so boring. And my company helped create the National Geographic channel, and we likewise HGTV relaunched the Food Network when Scripps took it over, a number of other networks. And I said, we can go in there and make space interesting again, and make it like Football Sunday. You have the pregame show, you have the first half, you have the halftime, you've got the second half, and then you have the post game. And now some of that may take over weeks, and some of it's in a day or 2 days, you know, just anticipation. And I swear to God, that would have been a next step for me. And we didn't get anywhere.
No.
And look at what Elon Musk and what Branson did with their telecasts.
Sure.
They really made it interesting. NASA should. Well, could we, Janice? Can you get them on the line?
Janice, go ahead. Hold on. I have to do it, Gary. I have to do it. Okay. Hey, Janice, can you get the vice president on the line who's in charge of NASA? And see
No
what we
worries.
can possibly do? Okay,
Yeah,
good.
absolutely.
I remember we have, I love when they do the nighttime blast offs that they have launches. And just recently, within about a year or so ago, they launched, and it was going right over past the coast of North Carolina. And it was a dark, clear night, no stars. And I saw this thing going right over us. And I'm like, wow, how cool is that? And I'm still a little kid when it comes to that. It doesn't matter, because I'm always like, these were our heroes as we were growing up, from the 7 original, actual astronauts to, because we went through the Gemini series, we went through the Friendship series, the Gemini series, we went through the Apollo series, we went through a Skylab, we went through Space Shuttle, we went through all that stuff, which always intrigued the heck out of me. It really did. And you and I got to talk about that.
That sense of wonder is wonderful. And even what the people who were dressed up, a disabled woman, how perfect. You're weightless in space.
Yeah.
I mean, how perfect. Black, white, Indian, I believe. I mean, it was just wonderful to see the diversity that there is in NASA when there wasn't. You know who helped so much get diversity in NASA was the woman who played Uhura.
Really?
On Star Trek. She was brought in by NASA and said and charged with, or she went to NASA. I take that back. She went to NASA and said, "Look, I played this role in TV and movies. We need to get more African American women. We need to get more people of color in NASA. You're empowering people, but unless the avenue is open to go in and apply and to get picked, it's just more frustration." She was responsible.
Good for her.
And, and I will, I think we all owe her a debt of gratitude, because you open one door and a lot of doors open up.
Still, we're waiting for the first Greek astronaut, but they're all working at the diner right now. And, so I don't see.
But the food will be better than that dry.
Oh, there's no two ways. To eat moussaka from a tube is truly an amazing thing. You have any more of that tzatziki sauce in that thing? Yeah, go ahead. Let me have some of that bad boy. We know what I'm looking for, and we got to get back to the show, but I'm looking forward, which I've always thought we should have had, and we dropped the ball after we really landed on the moon. We should have created back then a space station, but to basically, do everything from medical experiments to A through Z that we could have done in zero gravity situation. And that's the one thing that and I'm so happy now that we are looking at doing that, to colonizing the moon, and then moving on to colonizing and maybe going into Mars and going in that direction. That's where your new book should be, Gary, going into these new places of, where space is involved, because that is the frontier that we need to, get out there and let people know what's out there. Because I don't know about you, I'm always curious, is there life outside there? I want to know. And now you and I have discussed it, and I know where you and I both believe what we believe. And I'm always amazed that people say, oh, no. We're the only ones.
Well, there has to be, and I would like us to return to societally the belief, but also then get to globally the world that Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, envisioned. And we're not there. In fact, we're further away from. It wasn't a utopia, but it was where we had solved many of the problems on Earth. And what we were exporting was goodwill, not hatred. And that was his vision. He was a mentor to me for many years. I'm honored that I got to know and work with Gene Roddenberry. But even the new Star Treks are, patently violent and about war rather than about making peace.
You're right. And if we can all be like a little bit more like James T. Kirk, because this man would sleep with anyone, and he even did it. Yeah. JR, we're like, oh, you're not going to sleep with the green woman, man. Don't sleep with the green woman. You know where that green came from, for God's sakes.
I have another one I can do. Well, if we think we should go there, then,
Wow.
Well done.
I have more in my bag of tricks.
You are a true talent, my friend.
Good.
All right, but do you know this question? Do you know this answer? What was the actual test that he took at the academy? And he was the only one to pass that test at the academy.
And it was brought back in the first Star Trek movie reboot a number of years ago. And I always get it wrong because I say it's the Rubicon, but it's not the Rubicon. It's the Tash.
But it's the Kobayashi Maru. Let's get this straight, for God's sake. Okay.
Hey, close enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys would buy anything.
On in the full-blown seizure trying to say that.
Okay.
And the only reason why
is for you.
Just a buck.
Yep. Yep.
You know how much it cost me to be able to pronounce that, for God's sake? And I'm only getting $1 from you? What the hell's going on?
Okay, guess what? It just went down to $0.50.
Wow, you're killing me now.
Wow.
You are truly killing me, and the FBI is at your door.
No.
I was going to say, yeah, they're calling him now.
I do have a story about that, and I will take this back together.
Yes.
Trust me. At Weller Grossman, we were doing a show called If the Walls Could Talk. And it was about the secrets and the lies that were in the White House. And this was before the most recent presidents. We did this in the mid-1990s. And at one point, and it was right after an earthquake in Los Angeles. So we were limited what footage we could get in. There was no internet at that point where we could ship footage through or send footage through the internet. So we were just trying to create, JR, you'll know too, all the possibilities for B-roll, because we weren't doing a radio show, we were doing a TV show. What are we going to show? So I was in the front row with our director and our editor, and I turned around and said, Mindy, because we realized there might be an issue with photographing actual money. In the back of our heads, it wasn't something you were supposed to do. So I said, Mindy, could you just call Washington, the Treasury Department, tell them we're doing a documentary on a political documentary. We want to find out if we can, it's okay to, shoot a $1 bill. Okay. And the president's on the bill. So she checks the number, and I'll wrap up the story quickly. She checks the number for the Treasury Department. She calls and she says the following words. Hello, I'm calling from California, and we would like to shoot the president.
Oh, no.
Now, Ruben Norton, the director, who's just a little bit bigger than me, turns in slow motion at that same speed that Louis Tiant pitched, basically, and begins to leap over the table towards her, but not before she could say, as obviously the call was beginning to be traced, she then said, I'm calling from a company named Weller Grossman, and we'd like to shoot the president. True story.
So is she still on unemployment right now?
No, yeah, she'll be unemployment. She, there are mistakes that,
That's a big one. That's a big
one. That's definitely a big one.
Wow.
Gary,
She was nervous, Gary. She was nervous.
Oh, there's no two ways about it.
She was
Gary, how can all the listeners and viewers get the new audiobook? Where can they find Red Deception? Not only Red Deception, but Red Hotel, all the executive series. How can they get that? Please, share that with us.
Okay, easy peasy. Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com, or go to your local bookstores and ask them to order it. The Audible book is on Amazon and iTunes, but Executive Treason is also on out in print and Kindle, as are all the other books. And I think Amazon now has a price of about $19.95 for Red Deception. It's down even from that. But support local booksellers, please. They need your help. And the other way is, I know Basil has a copy, so you could just go over to his house.
Haven't read it.
Sure, you made me read it, but I got to go ahead. I can't listen to anything, for God's sakes. Make it easy for me. Oh, my gosh. Gary, I don't know where the hell the time has gone, but I got to be honest with you. Again, probably my favorite guest to have on the show. You always make it fun. I learn more about you every time when we talk. And that you and I both, and you were on George Norrie's show, and you were going to be on there one time. You told me, I said, that's a great show, because I like listening to all the various guests that he has on there, and it's good radio. It keeps you intrigued. You're always intrigued listening to the guests and stuff like that, and you always find a way to always make me want to hear more about you.
Well, I love being on with you, and it's great meeting JR now and Janice, of course.
Very nice to meet you as well. Very
nice to see you again, Gary.
Gary, we love you. Thank you so much. Gary, is there, by the way, one more thing, is there a website for you directly?
Great. You could log on to redhotel.com, redhotel.com, and there's also GaryGrossman.com, Gary, one R, Grossman.com, a website that desperately needs updating, but go to redhotel.com, and there it is, right there.
How do you like it? Isn't this nice that we can do this, that we have the ability to do this? Was all my idea. I wish that JR and Janice were more proactive about this. This was all me, by the way.
I guess we'll
every bit.
All of it. That's why he pays us the big bucks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Sure.
Here it is.
Oh, my God, Gary. Yeah.
Right there, there you go. There it is.
No offense, but I'd rather have the 2 quarters, if you don't mind. Gary, we love you. You take care. My best to your family, and we'll talk soon, my friend.
Terrific.
God bless. Have a great evening. Thank you.
You as well. Bye-bye.
Oh, my God. That was our wonderful guest, Gary Grossman, who was with us on A Pinch of Basil. Man, always a great show with him. Always a great show. And again, September 22nd, to definitely change for the better. JR, Janice, love you guys. Isn't it, you know what I love about him is he's so diverse in so many different ways that you could listen to him and all the stuff. And you know what he does, he's been around the block a few times, and he's seen everything from news. But I didn't even know when he was a kid that he did Morse code. Do you know how difficult it is to actually do Morse code? In my opinion, I think
anybody. I've never known anybody that knew how to do Morse code. Never heard of anybody knowing how to do it.
Yeah, now I think he was full of crap when he was going DDD. I think he was just.
You wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah, it was like he was about ready. The DDD, the ba ba ba. That's all I want to say to you. Okay, but no, actually, man, you know, just a great guest with that.
Man. And I just love talking to people and learning from people smarter than me. I like talking to people smarter than me. That's a low level. That's a low bar to set. People so smarter than me, but I love talking
so much. Probably one of the most.
Stop it, JR.
You know, it's great to have him on the show. But listen, you haven't learned a damn thing from me at all. I'm not gonna.
I learned about some peanuts, baby.
You want some peanuts, baby? That's all I want. You want some peanuts? Yeah.
And I'm in the middle of this.
In more ways than one.
Don't you love it? Hey, no,
you love us.
Thank you to the Dongo Ate My Baby. I think I pronounced it right. The Dongo Ate My Baby in the chat with the. It was a great question from about.
Yes,
Bobby.
it was. It really was. Yeah, I wanted to say that, but I couldn't pronounce it, so I'm glad you did.
I definitely read it from the one that he separated. The Dongo.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, I could not figure it out. I was like, oh no, I'm not.
No, and I was trying to read it. Of course, I got my glasses on. I'm still having a hard time reading that. I'm like, the Dongo did the baby.
But no, that's man. I love seeing the chat. Thank you everybody for joining.
Thanks everybody. Yeah,
you guys
great
are great.
Question and great feedback. We like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we do. Hey, make sure you join us on all the outlets that we have on Twitch at A Pinch of Basil. Make sure you go ahead. Jay, what exactly they got to do, JR? What do they when they follow us? How do they do that?
Yeah, go on Twitch and you know what I mean. While I'm talking, and I'll try to talk and type at the same time.
Yeah, you can go ahead and go on Twitch. You can go, hey, listen, and we're taking questions.
Yeah, take questions.
Absolutely. Even on YouTube, and we want the followers. We want you share what this show is all about. Next week, we have a wonderful guest with Philip. He'll be joining us. And you know what? I should have brought the bloody book in, but I didn't get an opportunity to. So I'm going to bring it in. But we'll be promoting that, and Philip will be with us. And just another great guy who's a big fan of mine, and I'm a fan of his. And he came to my shows that we did when I was in Florida. He and his lovely wife. Just a very, very, very cool cat. really is. And I'm excited about it. And in this show, and then hey, another big surprise. And by the way, need to let you know, we got an email back from Pete Stoyanovich. So it looks like Pete Stoyanovich, the field goal kicker from the wonderful Kansas City Chiefs and also the wonderful Miami Dolphins, will be joining us as well. And don't forget, Boom Boom Mancini, Ray Boom Boom Mancini will be coming up shortly with us as well.
The stories that he'll be able to tell, Tommy Hearns and Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, all that good stuff, man. Come on.
Yeah. And you also know a good buddy of mine who does my T-shirts, Steve Clem.
Cleminator. The
Cleminator, is that what you call him? Okay.
Yeah, he used to work with me at the TV station.
Yeah, he does. He does my T-shirts and everything for me there. So he's a good man. He really is. But I want to.
So let me show people like Twitch. So when you go on the Twitch,
right?
Just go on. Let me make it full screen there, so you a little better. See this little purple follow button right here?
Mm-hmm.
Click that to follow, and then that'll let you. You'll have to log in, and you might have to create a login. It's totally free to join us on Twitch.
Yeah,
which is totally free to join, and all that good stuff. But that also enables you to help donate to the show, possibly if you want to see the show grow, help get better equipment for the show and all that kind of good stuff.
What are you saying? That our equipment's for crap? Just because we got Band-Aids on it doesn't mean anything,
hey,
man.
Yeah. If you get better equipment, might have help get a better product out there.
You never know. And also, don't forget, you can also join us on through Anchor with 8 different outlets, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts, right? So you guys can do that as well. Listen to the show. Comments, concerns, whatever the case may be, I just want to let you know that, what you can do is email us at info, at a pinch of basil. Put an E at the end of basil.com. Share the questions that you guys got, and I'm, again, looking forward to seeing you all guys next Wednesday at 8 p.m., as always, Eastern Standard Time here in New York. And New York City time. So make sure you join us. Anything else y'all want to, throw in there, JR, Janice?
No, it's all good.
That I know of. It's some good wrestling on this week, everybody. Some good things happening in the pro wrestling.
I'm not watching wrestling. Thank you.
Yeah, so no, it's not wrestling. It's wrestling.
It's
wrestling. Sorry. Got it.
All right, man. I love you guys.
I do that in a different way. Thank you very much.
I don't want to even just la 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 la.
There you go. There you go. Hey, you started it. You started it.
Ever since I mentioned that was a pinup.
I finished it.
And we're going to leave the show off there, folks. Thanks so much for listening to A Pinch of Basil on this wonderful September 22nd of 2021. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you next Wednesday at 8 o'clock.